and welcome everybody to episode 21 of Rime of the Frost Maiden. I'm Samson Paul with the rest of the party at hand. How's everyone doing tonight?
Good.
Pretty swell.
Fantastico.
Pretty damn good.
All right. Awesome to hear, guys. I'm glad you guys are doing well. I hope everyone watching at home and on YouTube is watching well. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I'm going right into shill mode. Hit the subscribe button. Get notified when we drop a new episode of Rime of the Frost Maiden every Thursday, the day after our debut on Twitch, or our airing on Twitch. So YouTube, you people who are tuning out after 5 minutes, click it now. Do it now. All right, shilling out of the way.
That was some fine chilling.
It is important to click the bell so you'll stay notified.
It's very important. It's the most important thing. Stay notified. Hit that sub button. And if you're on Twitch, hit the follow button. Let it get notified when we go live on Twitch. It's really good. It's really important to know when we're going live and having episodes like this. Kind of felt like that was a little bit of Rick and Morty with Rick. Just
A little bit.
yeah, actually.
You gotta hit that subscribe button, Morty. You gotta follow us. Do it now.
Has anyone seen the Solar Opposites show by the same creator?
Yeah.
So good.
I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but it is on my list.
I approve wholeheartedly. Well, before we get into the recap, does anyone want to plug anything? Open mic.
I mean, as always, join the tavern if you haven't already. Nice little Facebook community. Facebook's a trash pile, but the tavern's pretty nice. And starting tomorrow, we are resuscitating the Meme of the Month contest.
All right. Yeah, it's a great little community on Facebook full of good memes, good people, and a good time.
Memes.
I have a plug, Sam.
Go for it.
My extension cord. End of plug.
As much
Truth be told,
appreciated.
I've been hanging on to that one for about 2 weeks now, but you know, the timing just didn't feel right until today.
The time is now.
Got to give power to that plug. Make it work correctly, you know.
Damn straight.
All right. Otherwise, follow me on Twitter at Samson Paul and any other social media outlet that I use. I've made a TikTok, but I haven't been using the TikTok. Follow Gavalarian at Gavalarian for Brian Hawkins, or Carcass on Twitter at Gavalarian is spelled in the chat.
Oh, Sam, you ought to start using that TikTok. D&D talk is huge.
Yeah, I know. I just, I don't know. It's hard to make good content on, I don't know. I'm just responding to other people is what it seems like I would be doing. Maybe telling stories about other sessions that I've ran in other campaigns. It's hard to find those good
some people
ones.
live for that shit.
True. I'll probably have to put a heavier foot in on that going forward. But all right. Anything else? All right. With that, we'll start the recap. And we picked up last week with Vega, Eclipse, and Lysander hanging around town and taking care of the bees and helping their migration to the new bee boxes. Started to talk with Olivessa for a little bit, and there was a commotion coming from the middle of town, and they went to investigate, to which they found a large number of bandits seemed to be looting and pillaging the town. And so they jumped right in and started to fend off the bandits in any way they can, putting up a good fight against them. And other things to note is a resident dwarf of the community, the one who is running for mayor, Shandar, and his compatriots, were also running to the defense and as Vega put it, looked very shiny in doing so. In the regards of being able to just take them out in one hit and send them running for the hills, and eventually, with the work of both parties, were able to fend off the bandits from town while Shandar executed the bandit captain right in front of the mead hall. From there, we flash forward a little bit as the party who went to slay the Verbeeg that had been pillaging the trade routes of Goodmead returned back after a lengthy journey and met up with the rest of the party, who had informed them of what had happened earlier that day. The party then decided that they needed to do some investigating into this Shandar individual and see what exactly is going on. So we had our druid, Vega, shapeshift into a fly and then later a flea when smaller crevices were needed to be moved and moved through, I should put. Discovering, let's see, there was a letter and then a couple of other things. Not a smoke bomb, a throw bomb was found and discovered. This small flea was running back and forth across a folded parchment in an envelope to try to read what the contents were, as they were in Dwarvish. Eventually, after enough time, the party grew concerned and decided just to go in using Zizix's unseen servant and investigate for themselves, to which Zizix found some chocolate, and you guys were able to make it to the back room and open up the drawer, finding the key in the chocolate starfish of the mounted deer butt in the room, and discovered Vega appearing out of nowhere as he fell from the envelope and reading it out loud in Dwarvish so everyone can hear. It was nothing but a letter from his parents, who happens to be one individual from a previous campaign, Simrock, inventor of the throw bomb, demolitions expert. And the feel at that point for the party towards Shandar was that he was probably okay. There was no signs of being within a gang or any sort of affiliation like that. But upon going to the mead hall and finding the town rejoicing in the success of the ability to fend off bandits, even though they are technically leaderless, Lysander was able to spot the mark of the Zentarum on one of Shandar's compatriots, and which led to some intuitive thinking by Silas, who went straight over to Shandar, who had been drinking quite a bit, and asked him, for a detailed moment-to-moment transcript of the day, and cast Charm Person, and was successful in doing so, in which Shandar disclosed that he had a hand in paying off the bandits to come and attack the town, and with the idea of them being able to repel them. To which Silas took this information and played it to the strum of a lute in front of the mead hall, with everyone all listening and watching, ending with Shandar coming to the realization that the ruse has been blown open. Did I miss anything? Or does anyone have anything else to add?
No, I
Hey.
don't.
Alright. Well, with that, we'll go ahead and go straight to the bar. To the mead hall where all of this is happening. Where Shandar is starting to come to the realization that his time might be up, and he might be having to leave town, but he looks up and he glances at his friend Silas standing on top of the counters, and he looks up at him and he says, this does not look good. What should I do?
Well, there are a few options at your disposal. One You could certainly run, leave town, might be best. You might even get out unscathed. The other, well, empty your pockets, see if they forgive you.
And Shandar kind of looks down and he kind of gives himself the pocket check, and he says, I have nothing in my pockets. And he looks to his compatriots to the side, and he kind of nudges them, and they've overheard what you've said. And as they're having a discussion, someone actually throws a filled mug of mead and hits Shandar directly onto the head, causing him to flinch just ever so slightly in reaction. Because he's still drunk, he has those delayed reflexes. And the crowd seems to be turning heavily on Shandar, and expletives are being cursed at him, and people are starting to get up from their seats and move towards their location. Shandar's friends seem to be trying to signal to Shandar that this is happening, and you all get the sense that they're getting ready to try to head out of the mead hall before things escalate. What would you as a party like to do?
I am going to stand guard at the door and not let them get out.
Okay.
Is there more than one exit?
No, it is just the front hall, or the front door. You think that there might be a back door through the kitchen, but that's not the direction that they're looking towards. Andy, did you have something?
Andy's just gonna kind of look at Lysander with a confused expression and say, why don't we just let them go rather than having a riot?
I think that he needs to stand for what he's done.
That will probably mean being killed.
Then I guess it's up to the town to decide. Many
Well, if it's for
people-
the town to decide, perhaps we shouldn't intervene.
It may be worth asking how many innocents were killed in his paid raid.
That's my thinking as well.
So Lysander, Eclipse, and Vega, you would know that there was one person who was mortally wounded, but their wounds were tended to by Vega, I believe. But everyone else seemed to have made it with some scratch and bruises. No fatalities were seen immediately.
Innocent woman took an arrow to the neck.
She died?
Oh, thanks to Vega.
Well, if no lives have been lost, then perhaps we shouldn't start.
It is dangerous to back an animal into a corner.
I think the lesson is learned.
And with that, you can see the 5 individuals with Shandar starting to kind of form a little bit of a barricade around him as mugs are being hurled and things from this tavern are starting to break on the contact of being thrown and hitting some of these individuals. The stepping on glass starts to just crackle, and you can really get the sense that the unrest is starting to build. And 3 individuals from the city, they approach and they say, where do you think you're going? And they kind of shove them to keep them inside of the mead hall. And Shandar says, look, I'm willing to discuss this on another day. We're all drunk. We don't need anything too hasty to be done here. We will discuss this another time. And he's going to try and persuade the mob with his words. Silas, did you have something?
Yeah, Silas would like to just play his song again to remind everyone. Make sure that, it's still fresh in their minds.
Andy's gonna give him a look, and then she's gonna step up next to Shandar and say, listen, What occurred was not okay, and I understand why everyone's upset about it. But destroying your tavern or starting a riot will get more people hurt. We need to think on this with level heads that aren't plagued with firewater. And she's
Very
going to try
nice.
and assist his persuasion of the crowd.
Go ahead and roll yours individually.
That's a 13.
Two of the men that stepped up to intervene, they seem to take your words and listen to you rather than him and start to back away. But one individual, he's holding still, and he says, "My valuables have gone missing. I think it's only fair that I take something of yours that is of equal or greater value."
Andy's going to look at what's the dwarf's name again?
Shandar.
Shandar, and she's going to say, "That seems fair. Do you agree?"
And he kind of looks to you and then back to the human in front of him, and he says, "I don't have anything besides my axe." And his grip tightens on the axe, and the man looks directly at it and he says, "As good as payment as any," and tries to rip the axe from the hands of Shandar.
Andy's going to look at Shandar and say, "Let him take it. It's not worth your life."
And he is unable to fend off the strength of this individual anyway. And the man takes the great axe and kind of gives him one jut right to the gut with the butt of the axe. Says, "You best leave town before we all change our minds." Shandar and his group looks to him, and they look towards the door, and they see Lysander standing in front of the exit.
Lex says, Shandar, more like Shamdar.
Oh!
Andy's just going to look at Lysander and see if he's planning on letting them go.
Big is going to chuckle at that pun.
Yeah, you know what, Andy? Every time you make a pun, I'm gonna have you make a performance check.
Oh, please do. That's one of the best things that I'm at right now. Here, you ready for this? Fucking natural 20. What's up? Yeah. Suck
Everyone
on
is
that.
dying laughing at this, and even some of Shandar's friends are laughing at this. And they actually stop moving forward to kind of bend over and grab their stomachs in laughter. Sick burn indeed.
Hell yeah.
I'll be here all night, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. So, Andy, you said you were looking to Lysander to see if he was moving?
Yeah, I'm just going to see if he's going to let them pass now that the crowd has agreed to do so.
I'm going to look at the nearest citizen that's allowing him to go.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask them, you agree to let him walk and to discuss this tomorrow. You trust him to keep his word on that.
They just told him to get out of town.
Yeah, Shandar was originally the one who said, let's talk about it tomorrow, and then the rest of the group was like, just get out of town before we change our minds and kill you, essentially.
Oh, I missed that. I'm sorry.
No worries.
Then, yeah, I'll stand aside and glare at them as they exit.
And you move from the entryway, and they start to make their shuffle, and things still being hurled at them. There's been at least 10 or 15 mugs that have made direct contact with Shandar or his friends, and Shandar looks to you and he looks down and he says, I wish I still had my father's axe, and walked out.
Maybe you should have thought of that before you hired a group to raid your town.
And with that, Shandar and his compatriots have exited the mead hall, and there is a very obviously a loud murmur of conversation happening collectively between individuals inside of the mead hall. But as he exits, that buzz starts to grow quieter until it's kind of an uncomfortable silence. Some time passes and people start sitting back down at their tables, and the barmaids go around collecting mugs and sweeping up any glass that was thrown and broken on the wooden floors of the mead hall, and everyone remains very silent. What would you guys like to do?
Get a big old mug of mead.
Andy's just gonna sit down.
Would also like a mead. It's time to drink.
All right.
I'm going to sit next to Andy.
Andy gives him a pat on the shoulder.
Okay.
Silas would like to strum out his lute and go ahead and just recite a quick poem, which is, Olivessa is a woman who cares. Her quick mind and trust brought Mead back to Wares, and with her love and dedication you know she's the leader you need. Now let the mead flow!
Make a performance check.
That is a 19.
And on your final notes of letting the mead flow, there is a collective cheer from those within the mead hall. And the morale of this room has been lifted. And everyone starts resuming drinking and talking. And there's also another murmur in the side of the room that says, maybe he's right. Maybe Olivessa would be the best to lead this town. And that conversation being had on one side of the room. Very nice, Silas. Very nice.
And from there, I'll just grab a cup of mead and come sit with the rest of the party and give a very, very smug smirk to everyone else.
So you guys are close to the bar when that poem is read. You guys are ordering your meads, which are on the house to you in particular. So no charge for this cup of mead. You, Vega, and you, Eclipse. Did anyone else say they wanted mead too? Was it Andy?
Sure, I'll do one.
Okay.
And Silas.
And
I'll
Silas.
take a mead as well for good old Lek.
All right. Easy enough.
I'll take one.
Well, I'd say that went positively swimmingly.
You were inspirational, Silas. This would have gone quite differently without you.
Andy just drinks her mead.
I would certainly think so. It pays to be educated.
Indeed.
Adriana, how would have you had and handled the situation?
Sorry, what was that?
How would have you handled the situation, Adriana? I'm very curious.
Oh, you mean if I were in your shoes and learned of it, in the mead hall like this? Well, I think my inclination would have been to keep watch over him through the night and address it in the morning when everyone's sober.
How dreadfully boring. I'm glad we went my way instead.
Much quicker.
Ooh.
The way I like it.
Is that right, coming from a man named Lech Sherlong?
Absolutely. Perhaps when I was in my early half-elf days, I lectured long, but I've learned that quick and easy is best since then.
That tracks.
You must be quite a hit with the companions.
Well, let's say, I get by.
Alright, so everyone's sitting around and joined at a table, drinking their mead. What would you guys like to do at this point? Shots.
I would like to find a quiet place to read the book that Alavesa had given me.
Which book was that? Remind me.
It did not have a title, but it was the one that she gave me in hopes that we might find some information on how to possibly kill a deity.
Oh, that was in the library. I don't think that was Alavesa.
Malia.
Yeah.
Malia gave me that
Aaliyah.
one.
There you go. Sure. Go ahead and let's make this an intelligence check to see how well you can zone in with being in this busy place and focus. How far you get without being disrupted.
That's a 7.
You start skimming through some pages and you find yourself kind of your eyes being drawn to other parts of the mead hall as things start occurring and people start cheering. Just it's not the ideal place for some study, as it were. But you do start reading about these lesser deities that are pretty much obscure at this point, but in their day had some real power and were looking to ascend to godhood. And that's as far as you're able to really surmise out of the first story that you're reading about.
Is Shandar still in town at this point?
He has left the mead hall, so if you would like to go outside and look for him, it's been about 5 minutes or so since he's left.
I would like to go look for him, but I'd like to do it very subtly.
Sure, go ahead and make a stealth check to sneak outside.
Well, balls, that's a 6.
You very proudly announce that you are going to the restroom before heading outside.
I am going to water the cranberries. Excuse me. Like,
You make your way outside. Make a perception check.
it's 10.
So you glance around in all directions, but you see the footprints that he left behind, and they head out towards the main road, and you kind of follow them for a few steps and see which direction he went, and you see that he had traveled east, seemingly to go back to the main roads that connect Bryn Shander, Goodmead, and East Haven together. But as you start to make your way towards the main road, you see a figure starting to move closer to you, and it's you hear a familiar voice saying, "Ah, Lack! Trust everyone is at the mead hall?" And you look up and you see that it's Olivessa starting to enter and making her way towards the mead hall herself.
Yes, yes, they are. And let me tell you, have you heard the news, Olivessa?
I can't say that I have, if it's anything more than us being successful against defending the bandits.
Oh, it is much, much more than that. As a matter of fact, Shandar admitted that he paid to have the bandits raid our town and he was run out. And now there's talk of electing you as the new town leader. How about that?
Oh, well, I knew that Shandar was up to no good. I am heartbroken to hear that he would do such a thing to such a great town. But that is ultimately good. If I'm to take the reins and be the best bet for this town to survive, I'm happy to have that be an easier path than originally thought. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Might I encourage you to head down to the mead hall now? You assuredly would be most welcome as the guest of honor.
And she says, I was heading that direction anyway, but I will brace myself for the warm welcome. And she starts to go ahead.
Very good, very good. Well, I have some business to take care of, but I will see you there in a little bit.
And she starts to make her way to the mead hall, and she eventually goes out of eyesight of you as the door opens, and you hear a cheer in unison as the door opens, and after a slight delay of recognition of who's coming in, and the door closes behind her and the cheer gets muffled down. What else did you want to do outside?
Yeah, I would actually very much like to catch up with Shandar.
Okay, go ahead and make a survival check.
$11.
So those tracks are fresh enough that you're able to narrow down exactly which direction he went, and you start to scurry across the main road, and you see the outline of 4 or 5 individuals up ahead of you, probably about 45, 50 feet away or so.
Okay, I'd like to cast Disguise Self on myself as one of the, someone who looks like one of the bandits.
Okay.
And I would like to approach Shandar and in a very bandit-like voice say, "Hail, Shandar!"
Okay. Let's see. Make a deception check. Go ahead and do that, and they will have
15.
Okay. So that's good enough. They turn around and look back to you and they say, I see you're not with the rest of them. As they immediately recognize your outfit and garb.
No, I got separated, but from what I hear, things didn't quite go as planned. So, Xandar, given that you killed our leader and that we aren't going to get quite the profit we were promised, I wondered if you could do me a favor.
And Shandar looks you up and down and seems to be really trying to take in exactly who you are, and he says, Listen, Gil being gone now does not take away from anything that I've paid you. In fact, that cut that was going to him is actually going to be dispersed evenly throughout the surviving members of this raid. So you will get yours, even though it didn't work out as planned.
Well, while that's much appreciated, Shandar, I do think I can help smooth things over for you if you would but give me a bit of information.
And what's that?
Well, I've heard. Well, you see, it's my mother, you see. She's sick, and a lot of what I do in the bandit world is to take care of her, and, well, she happens to just love chocolate so very much. And I heard rumor that you, had, knowledge of how and where to acquire chocolate, so for the sake of me dying mum, could you, help a guy out?
And Chandar kind of looks towards you and he says, chocolate.
It's what she wants.
And he says, I have a bit on my person myself, but, here. And he hands over a key. He says, if you go into my home, do it without being seen, of course. There's a bar of chocolate in the kitchen area in one of the cabinets. And he also hands over like a half-eaten chocolate bar that he pulls out of his pocket.
Thank you so very much, Shandar. I'll be sure to let the others know the kind of man you are, that this was completely a misunderstanding, this whole mess.
Well, everyone knows the risks involved to try and have one of these planned work. I'll see you in Targos.
Yes, of course. Good night to you then, Shandar.
And he kind of raises his hand and gestures a goodbye, and he and his cohort start heading back out of town. Meanwhile, back at the pub, let's see. Back at the pub, Olivessa has made her entrance, and upon being recognized by the patrons of this bar, cheered and started chanting Olivessa for mayor in unison. And she looks very flustered by this all of a sudden attention brought onto herself, and she says, thank you everyone. I'm looking forward to having someone to run against, after all, because I don't think we need to start tarrying down the path of a dictatorship. But please rejoice tonight in this successful defense of good mead, and may this be a brighter future with us working together for the good of good mead. And she raises up a glass of mead and says, to the town of Mead, may it never stop flowing. And everyone cheers with her. Do you guys, I assume, are partaking as well?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Glad. Yes.
And in unison, everyone downs a good large gulp of mead, and celebration ensues, and it seems to be a real jovial event now that's turned in the last 10 minutes or so from silence of being betrayed into this very happy occasion of having some dignity, what seems to be dignity, into the leadership of good mead. And Olivessa turns her eyes to you all and sits next to you and says, I don't think I can thank you enough for helping steer this town away from what was sure to be ruin under Shandar. I hope you know what you've done here.
We're happy to help.
I have a general idea of what I've done, but I'm flattered at your compliments nonetheless.
Sorry, what was that?
I have a general idea of what I've done, but I'm flattered by your compliments nonetheless.
And she nods and smiles towards you and says, "Yes, it's going to be a lot of learning from my part, and you all seem to know how to kind of navigate these paths of uncertainty, and maybe getting ahead of myself, but I was wondering if I would have you all accompany me to the first meeting of the speakers in Bryn Shander, probably in the next 10 days or so."
Andy's just going to look at the rest of the group because she's not sure if there's anything that they had that was more pressing.
Vega will chime in at that look and say, let us discuss it and get back to you, but it's a possibility.
Being thrust into leadership, I would feel much more confident if I had some friendly faces to lean on in such a volatile environment. From what I've heard from other people who had the town speaker's ear before he departed, was that these meetings tend to devolve into bickering amongst towns for firewood and other resources like that, and I'm just not sure I could go that alone at first.
I wouldn't mind hearing the news of the area, Andy says as she kind of glances at everyone else.
I think it would be very beneficial for us as well as her. I just want to make sure we don't have more pressing matters, and while I can't think of any, that isn't something that's slipping my mind. That's the only reason I said we should discuss it and get back to her.
If it means more work and an opportunity to not only learn more of our allies, but our enemies, I could see it being beneficial.
Absolutely agreed. And is there any more pressing matters that anyone can think of? Because I can't.
I can't either.
And
Not off the top.
Olivessa kind of speaks up and she says, "Well, it's not happening anytime soon. Like, we still have to have the election in 4 days, 5 days, and then after that it'll be another 4 or 5 days before we have to reconvene at Bryn Shander for the meetings. So you have time to seek other things if they so choose to be more important, which I would completely understand."
We could always find some odd jobs during the time that we're waiting to go to Bryn Shander, Andy suggests.
Yeah, I think that sounds fine.
And Olivessa kind of looks relieved with that answer and says, "Oh, very well. I dearly appreciate it. And I kind of feel bad asking more after what all you've done. But I appreciate your open mind."
Of course, we're glad to help.
Well, the well-being of this town is very important to me, so I hope we can help.
And I think you will. And Olivessa starts to sift through her bag, and she looks at Carcass and she says, "And I have something for you. I had a little birdie told me that you like these." And she pulls out a meat hunk and presents it to Carcass.
And I
Andy
will very
smiles.
quickly snatch it out of her hands with a huge smile, and I will shove it into my face.
Well, I think you've made a friend for life, Elavessa.
Well, it's the work that you all have done collectively. I wanted to be sure that I appropriately compensated you all in the ways that you would like, and I have seen that this carcass here enjoys meat hunks, and I thought he would appreciate it.
He enjoys them very much, yes.
Yes, Carcass likes the meat very much.
And with that, Olivessa bows her head and she says, if you can think of anything else that you would like to discuss with me, I would be very happy to hear it out. But if you don't mind, I'm going to go and congratulate everyone individually on a successful defending of the town.
That sounds like a good idea.
And with that, Olivessa starts making the rounds around the tavern, or the meat hall, and schmoozing, I guess, is a little bit more of a negative term, but, talking with everyone around and shaking hands, kissing babies, not the other way around. In the meantime, after that discussion outside with Shandar, Lek, are you headed back to the meat hall, or where are you going?
Yes, I'm headed back to the meat hall.
So after about 5 to 10 minutes, Lek returns to the meat hall. Did you drop your disguise, or are you remaining in disguise?
No, once I got out of eyeshot of the bandits, I dropped my disguise.
Okay, very nice. That would have warranted a whole different reaction.
Indeed.
So, Lek, you find your way back to the table with the rest of the party sitting down and drinking. What would the party like to do at this point?
I elect we probably get some rest soon. I wouldn't mind finding a blacksmith or an armor smith in the morning, though.
I'm sure we could arrange that.
Yes, it's been a very long day. I second that motion. The sleep, of course. I have no need for a blacksmith.
All right.
Andy's gonna make sure Carcass knows he can come up to a room and not sleep on the floor. She's gonna say, Carcass, do you want to share a room? You don't have to sleep out here.
Okay, Carcass will share the room.
And as you guys start to go and inquire about rooms for the night, you find that they are two on the house, along with the mead tonight. So free drink and free board.
Aww.
That's wonderful. I had no intention of paying anyway.
Andy sighs.
To be fair, I think it's mainly in credit to you that we even have them on the house.
I do appreciate your acknowledgement. Hopefully this can come back later as well.
Andy strolls past Lek and Silas and comments, perhaps the two of you should share a room.
Really, Adriana, that's quite beneath you.
Silas chuckles a little bit to themselves for saying, although the thought is not necessarily repulsing.
Yes, after many years of life, one does enjoy the occasional dalliances.
Andy chuckles again as she continues up the stairs and says, see, I'm a fabulous wingman.
Luck, I need you to look carefully for a moment.
Of course. What do I need to look at?
Notice how Adriana moves so freely, do you?
Do I what?
Do you notice the way she moves so freely?
Yeah, she does seem to have a bit of a careless gait.
It's a wonder, with that stick shoved so far up her own arse.
Candy flips him off as she saunters into her room.
Oh, that, my friend, made staying up so late very, very worth it.
And Silas will head up to one of the rooms to get some sleep.
All right. The
As
rest
will
of you?
Lek, but obviously just sleeping is what's going to happen tonight, yes.
Yes. The rest of you turning in as well?
Yeah, I'm going to read my book as I retire. A more quiet space.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be going to bed.
Same here.
All right. So, with that, go ahead and give me an intelligence check, Lysander, to start reading more of this book.
That's a 19.
Much better. So you start delving into the later chapters of this book, and the common theme that you seem to be picking up on that causes the downfall of these would-be deities is that eventually they all seem to stop having believers, and once they no longer have a base, their path to becoming a deity gets very much obscured, and they sort of lose power. Many of these instances seem to be foiled by the acts of individuals, adventurers like yourselves, or in fact other deities that wipe off cities off the face of the map, because that's where their core what would you say, patrons, worshippers, were centered around. And once they lose those people, they start to fade into obscurity, is the pattern that you've been picking up on.
Didn't say anything about how you can convince these people to just simply stop following them. Like, what made this group of followers just up and decide not to anymore?
With that intelligence check, you're able to surmise that a lot of the time it's the lesser of two evils, and they start fearing one established deity in some instances, or up-and-coming deities in other instances, more than the original one. Rather than divide their fear into two different places, people tend to worry about the worst case scenario and choose between that, if that makes sense, if I'm coming across clearly. If not, let me know.
So out of fear of punishment, if they decide, like, let's say Goodmead decided not to do their monthly sacrifice of warmth and heat, sounds like these deities, from what you're saying and I'm understanding, is these people are more worried about the punishment from trying to forget about them and than not.
They would be more worried about. So the deities would be worried if they stopped giving sacrifice, if it also came paired with the lack of fear or subservience.
Oh, okay.
So, like, just the act of performing the sacrifice is one thing, right? That's like the starting block is you're kind of putting together. But if they don't do it, but the fear of that deity remains, they're just as powerful as they would ever be.
I follow you. Okay.
But if there was another deity that came along that scared them more, and they would be performing these sacrifices, and these deities or would-be deities are living inside of these worshippers' heads, then that power would be taken from one would-be deity to another.
Some valuable information.
Yeah, you rolled really well on your intelligence, so you're really comprehending this book very well. Anything else?
There's a first time for everything.
Wow.
Ha 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 ha. No, I think that did a lot for tonight. I might pay Malia a visit in the morning.
Okay. Did anyone else have anything they wanted to do before they hit the hay?
I am already asleep.
Okay. So with that, morning comes, and you guys all wake up after a good night's sleep. Let's see. Everyone roll initiative really quick.
What?
What the fuck does that mean?
18.
Lek 13.
And
Lysander.
19.
Lysander 22.
Okay.
Eclipse at 23.
Okay.
Vega got a nat 20, so 19.
Very nice.
Carcass got a 5.
Eclipse, you wake up first.
Okay.
Just wanted to keep you guys on your toes. A random initiative check to see who wakes up first.
Okay, yawn. I'm awake now.
Everyone
nightmare.
just collectively wakes up like they're in the middle of battle for no reason.
So no different for me than normal.
No, you're sleeping deep and nice sleep.
Wow, it just seems like I just went to bed.
Eclipse, you wake up first, and you find a note that seems to be written by Zizix.
Oh. I open the note to read what it says.
He says, I have returned to Caradin Vault to continue my studies on this belt. And I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm fine. I just couldn't wait on looking at this any longer. So if you need me, you can find me there. Signed,
Eclipse.
Zizix.
Eclipse is gonna read the note and not care and throw it back on her bed and start getting ready.
Alright.
Clearly, he's been kidnapped and murdered.
Yeah.
So, with that, you guys all wake up and start to get ready. Andy, I'm sure, is having to poke and prod Carcass to get him to arise from his slumber.
Oh,
You guys find yourselves in the mead hall, where not very many are there. There's one or two that seem to be still passed out from the night before, kind of off in the corners, clutching their mugs of mead. What's the plan for everybody?
Well, Andy's probably going to get herself breakfast, and she's going to get 2 breakfasts for Carcass.
Yes, I'm very hungry.
6 silver.
Alright.
I would like the breakfast too.
All right.
Well, yeah, same here.
breakfast today seems to be some sort of honey glazed knucklehead trout, which, you know, the honey here is very good, so it's very palatable.
I'll have a breakfast and some tea, if that's possible.
And they are able to provide some tea for you. It's of the very piney varieties. They have a lot of pine around here. Nice hint of honey in there as well. It's very nice on the tongue.
Excellent.
What's going on in here? Breakfast.
You said breakfast was 6 silver, right?
6 silver for 3 meals, so 2 silver apiece.
Oh, okay. I'll pay for my own.
Andy will
Strange.
set
Back
Marcus
home we
up at
don't
a table.
charge heroes, but very well.
It's on me, Silas.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much, Lek.
Of course.
All right. So give me one moment here. Let's see. Saw a discrepancy in character positioning. What's that? I'll fix that later. Anyway, so as you guys are served your meals and all of that good stuff, you start to listen in on conversations with the bartender amongst the barmaid, and one thing you guys pick up on is how they discuss that they haven't had any visitors from Dugan's Hole lately. And Dugan's Hole is the town to the southwest of town.
Oh, it's a town. I was about to say poor Dugan.
Oh. Oh.
But other than that, breakfast goes by quite peacefully. What would the party like to do?
What time is it getting to be?
The sun has been up for about 15 minutes or so.
I'm going to go up to the bartender and ask, pardon me, but would you happen to know if the library is open yet?
And he looks over to you and he says, I think Malia is usually up around this time.
I think I'll pay her a visit. Thank you.
Okay, very good.
Vega, you're from around here, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful. Do you know anyone who might be able to purchase some metal and perhaps sell some armor?
Oh, let me just ask my DM real quick, and I'll get right back to you.
Subtle.
Very
Where's
subtle.
DM? I have Siri.
So Vega, you know that there's a general goods trader. There's a Beard's Sorceress Arcana is the name of this little shop, and it's on the corner of town. It's a single-story half timber with a slate roof, and you can point him in that direction. But not so much an armor smith or anything like that here.
Okay. Well, there's not a specific smith, but there's a general goods trader. I can show you where that is.
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. And I'll show him where that is, I guess.
Okay. So Lysander has left to go to the library. Vega and Silas are headed to the trader. That leaves Carcass, Eclipse, and Andy inside of the mead hall. What would you guys like to do?
Andy's gonna stand up and stretch and say, well, I'm going fishing. You guys want to come?
Sure, I'd love to go fishing.
Carcass?
Yes, Carcass likes to eat the fish.
Great.
Forgive me if I don't join you, but before I leave your company, Eclipse, you're familiar with the people in this town, are you not?
I am.
Very good. So, who would you say knows the area of this region the best?
You can be a little more specific. You mean like the ins and outs of towns, or you mean all of 10 towns?
Jesus.
All of 10 towns. All of 10 towns.
So Eclipse, make an intelligence check.
That's a 19.
So you know that most common folk that are around here, they would be familiar with the other towns, mainly Dugan's Hole, East Haven, and Bryn Shander. Some for Caradinaval, as those are all the jointed towns to Goodmead. But as far as like the surrounding area outside of the towns, the best place to go would be Frozen Far Expeditions in Karakonic.
Very
Hi.
good.
Yes,
Thank-
I do relay that information to Lek.
Okay.
Thank you, Eclipse. Your knowledge is very impressive. Thank you for your assistance.
You're quite welcome.
And I will walk away, and then I will all of a sudden remember that I hadn't had a chance to talk to Malia about what I found out in the library that one night, so I will try and catch up with Lysander.
Okay. So we have Carcass, Eclipse, and Andy going fishing. Lysander and Lek going to the library. And then Vega and Silas heading towards the trade shop. So, with that, we will go to Vega and Silas first. So Vega takes you in the direction of where this shop is located, and you see a single-story building with a slate roof, and inside you can see through the windows these tall, seemingly elven shelves, elven-crafted shelves. And as you peer inside, you see a human male standing guard at the counter, and he welcomes you in. He says, "Welcome to Beard's Sorceress Arcana. Can I help you?"
Uh-oh. I heard a human. I'm so sorry, you cut out a bit. I heard a human.
Oh. You see a human at the counter, and he says, "Welcome to Beard's Sorceress Arcana. How can I help you?"
Yes, I'm looking for someone who might be able to take something off my hands and perhaps get me a bit more of a sturdy piece of armor. Do you have anything like that here?
A sturdy piece of armor, and he kind of takes a look down at his wares, and he says, as far as armor goes, I have this nice ring mail available."
I'm afraid that might be a bit too heavy for me. I was looking for padded or studded leather, but no need.
Well, if you're looking for just basic unenchanted armor, I have that on hand as well.
Oh, the ringmail's enchanted. What
In a sense,
kind-
it's adamantium.
Oh, and if I may ask, about how much would that run?
Modest 750 gold.
Oh, I'm afraid I'm a little light for that. How about the unenchanted armor?
For padded, I can let that go for, say, 85 gold.
That may be worth it. One moment. Vega, would you be able to step outside for a moment?
I'm gonna kind of raise my eyebrow at him and go, "Oh yeah, I suppose," and walk on out the door.
Appreciate it. I'd like to look at the innkeeper, or the shopkeep, and pull out those pieces I was able to snag of strange metal and say, how much do you reckon this is worth?
And you grabbed, what, 2 pieces?
Yeah, I believe I got 2 of them.
Alright, let's see. So he's going to take a good look at these pieces of metal, and he says, I can't say I've seen anything like this. And he kind of takes a look on the back side and tests its bending, and it doesn't bend a whole lot. He says, I'd imagine I can take this rare metal off your hands for 75 gold each.
Wonderful. How about this? Why don't I trade one to you for the breastplate, and then you could give me 50 for the other?
I'm sorry, for the breastplate?
Oh, sorry, the padded leather.
He says, I can work with that, and gives you 75 gold, and then he produces the padded armor from underneath one of his counters.
Excellent. And then I'll just take my time to change into that armor and smile and say, well, it was a pleasure doing business with you.
Likewise, I think this is a very amenable trade that we've made. I don't want to sound like I may have lowballed you, but if I was familiar with it, I'd be confident to say that this is very nice metal. So I think we came out ahead, being non-metal workers ourselves.
I would say so. We pulled it from the clutches of a Verbeeg, so, danger was involved.
Oh, wow. Tell me more. He quickly became a half-elf or a halfling for some reason.
Oh,
wow. As you're getting dressed and donning this armor, you notice a very eloquent staff sitting on the shelf in a very well-displayed location. It seems to be adorned with vines and what look like morning glory blossoming flowers and stuff like that.
Oh, excuse me, sir. What is that? And I'll kind of motion over to the staff.
Oh yes, this is our staff of flowers. From time to time, I loan it out to the people who work in the beehive and area, stuff like that. But this will allow you to get flowers to sprout and take hold, and I believe it's called druidcraft would be the type of magic that you can do with this.
Very, very fascinating. Give me one moment, and I'll call back in Vega.
Oh yeah, what do you need there?
Vega, have a look at the staff.
And I'll look at it.
And you see that this staff is got a number of different flowers and vines growing around it, and it's made of like a hardy maple. It looks very nice. It's a good looking staff.
It's pretty.
Do you think it would interest you or anyone else in the party?
I'd say me or Eclipse are the only ones that might have interest in it. Let me look at it for a bit.
And Beard is gonna come in your direction. He says, you seem to be in tune with nature and the like. This may not be something that you might be interested in, but you can cause flowers to blossom, seeds to take hold, or produce a fruit if necessary, if far enough along anyway. You can also control the immediate nature around you. You can create a small breeze and the like. If you didn't want to waste the water, which I don't understand why, but you could snuff a torch or a campfire with this as well.
Above table, what level spell is Druidcraft?
It's a cantrip.
It's a cantrip. What are you asking for this?
He says, well, I usually rent it out to the individuals here that work on the beehives and the cultivation of areas, but if I were to make my money back on it, I would say 300 gold or so.
I think I'll be okay with that. I could probably figure out how to do those things myself if I really wanted to. But thank you. I think it'll probably be more useful being rented out to them.
And he says, you might be right. Truth be told, it used to work even better up until, this never-ending winter happened. You used to be able to summon 24 hours of clear skies or rain and all of that, but it doesn't seem like that magic works anymore.
Well, that's a damn shame.
What I'd give for a full day of sunshine at this point.
Yeah, I'd say weather controlling staff would be much more worth 300 gold.
Yeah, but since we can't do that anymore, it doesn't work. It's diminished in value, that's to say the least.
Yeah, understandable.
Would you perhaps be willing to let it go for 75 in my old armor?
Go ahead and make a persuasion check.
$23.
He says, well, I don't think I can go that low, but I'd settle for about 170?
Unfortunately, in terms of coin, that is a bit above my my weight class.
Oh yeah, same here.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but surely Vega is right, and the town can use it in his absence whenever he's not here, obviously, to aid them in their cultivation matters.
Yes, I would agree. I do thank you for your time.
Likewise, always happy to meet a new face.
Absolutely. Well, ta-ta.
Auf Wiedersehen.
And DM, quick question. Did I purchase just padded leather or did I purchase studded leather?
Padded.
Alright, so there's literally no change in armor class. Sweet.
Oh no.
I now have an extra leather armor I gotta sell. Although this one, the padded, just weighs a little less, so that's something.
Yeah. But for what that's worth, that's, a lot. That's totally something that we keep track of here.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, let me just pop back in and just be like, would you be interested in buying my old armor?
I can take that off your hands for about 20 gold.
Deal.
And he produces his 20 gold to hand over and takes your armor.
No, I have enough for the staff, but I'm not going to buy it. I'll just walk back out and thank him.
Easy enough, easy enough. All right.
Oh, DM question.
Yeah?
How much did we make from that job? Because I think I forgot to add my gold.
Everybody got 70 gold, I believe it was.
Okay, thank you.
Whoa, wasn't it less than that?
It was, but there was a price increase because of the livestock that was brought back. There was a nice big bonus for everyone.
Y'all welcome.
Oh. Did I add that in?
So, with that, we will go with Silas and Lysander, who are making their way towards the library.
You mean Lek and Lysander?
Sorry, yes, Lek and Lysander, my bad.
I just get another
little-
turn.
L&L action.
Yeah, some serious L&L. So Lek and Lysander make your way to the library, and you see the door's unlocked and open, and Malia is sitting inside and says, welcome back. Is there anything I can point you towards today?
I gesture Lek to her, allow him to go first.
Yes, Malia, well, I was in here the other night, when we were doing the town sacrifice. I happened to learn a few bits of information about a few cities that, I thought I'd ask you about, given, my unfamiliarity with this area.
And she says, sure, what can I help you with?
Yes, Silvery Moon. Where exactly is Silvery Moon?
And she says, well, Silvery Moon is quite a ways away from here, and she starts to look down and kind of count her fingers a little bit. And she says, Silvery Moon's probably about 800 miles to the east.
Good gracious. Not close at all. Good.
Certainly not.
All right. Well, thank you. And then one other question I had from my time researching. What do you know about the lost spire of Netheril?
And she kind of looks down and she says, I believe I've read something about that in an autobiography by Dritz Duridin. Or a ghost-written autobiography, anyway.
Yes, that was the same book that I read when I first found out about it. I suppose you don't know anything more than what is in that tome?
Unfortunately not. I can't say I've ever seen anyone actively go looking for it, but it's said to be in this region somewhere.
Okay. Well, would you happen to know of anybody who might know more about Netheril?
And she puts her hand on her chin and kind of strokes her chin a little bit, and she's thinking, and she says, well, you might have to try a library that's larger than ours. Perhaps the one in Bryn Shander might have something a little bit more useful?
Very good. Malia, I can't thank you enough for all of your assistance since I've been in town. You have been most kind and gracious. An esteemed librarian, if there e'er was one.
Oh, well, you flatter me. I'm just doing what I can.
And when people do their jobs well, they deserve all the credit. So thank you.
And she thanks you in return and looks over to Lysander and says, "Is there anything that I can point you towards today, Lysander?"
I tip my hat to her as I approach the desk. Good morning to you. I was wondering if you had more information or any other books on the same subject from whence you gave me the other night.
Ah, yes, the How to Kill a God, essentially, as we put it. Um, Unfortunately, I don't have anything further on that.
I see. I wasn't sure whether or not you would, but you seem well read. I take it you have read this book.
I've taken a look at it, yes. I can't say that I recall every bit of information quite clearly.
Well, there's some very important information that you might pass on to the newly elected town speaker.
Oh, and what is that?
From what I read last night and from what I can understand, I think it would serve this town and any other neighboring communities the best if they stopped worshiping this deity, this oral.
I see. And what benefit would that have for us?
Quite beneficial. You would all be out of this winter hellscape that she has befallen upon you. It'd be healthy for your bees, it'd be healthy for growth, for vegetation, anything. You wouldn't have to sacrifice your heat or warmth once a month to appease her.
Yeah.
The best thing that I can tell you, and I understand this would be very hard to influence an entire town on this particular subject, but the best that I could understand and what I can share with you is don't participate in these sacrificial rituals and don't fear her wrath. You forget about her, she loses power. You keep doing this, she will ascend to godhood, and everything that you see around you now will be worse. Her sacrifices, what she requires, will be worse. When will it stop? It won't. She'll want more and more until you have nothing left to give, or until you're all frozen to death.
And go ahead.
So I would say it would be very beneficial for you to take heed of this knowledge.
And she sits back in her chair and clasps her hands together, and she starts to think on everything that you've just said, and she says, "It's I will bring this up to Olivessa if she is to be elected, which, with you and your cohorts as assistants, seems to be the case. But it's I think it's going to be easier said than done in this case, because the cold is very real, and it's very tangible, especially in this town, where we kind of rely on our agriculture."
I understand. It is a very hard plight that you have ahead of you.
Even if leadership takes this direction, I don't know how well that's going to translate to the common individual here in this town. If they can get behind it, that's great. But what of those that have the fear in their hearts, even though they are not participating?
I cannot account for what people feel in their hearts. Neither can you. None of us can.
That's going to be, if what you say is true, and it is written in that book that I must refresh myself on, then you have to stamp out the fear in our hearts before we can truly be free. And I would dare say that a small town like Goodmead, compared to Bryn Shander, it's just a drop in the bucket. We would only be able to move so much, and I think I would not be the only one to draw this conclusion, but I think if there was ever a target to be put on an individual city by Oral, it would be doing just that. Just giving up the fear.
If you don't mind me saying, forgive my intrusion into your conversation, but in my time as an ambassador trying to change people's hearts, I find that things like fear can't really be stamped out, but they can be replaced.
I'm gonna look at Lek and give him a bit of a wry smile. I'm gonna turn back to Malia and say, that's your angle. You make up a deity. Someone more powerful, more horrible than Oral. Find a way to make it tangible.
So we construct a new, more powerful deity. We need someone to evangelize this.
I think that you're the woman for the job.
Me? I'm but the librarian.
Exactly. You're smart. You're resourceful. People will listen to you. You might have more power and influence than you give yourself credit for. But I would say if you were to start an underground movement in this town, or just start spreading rumors, let those whispers become something else, this may be your way out of this horrible wintry hellscape.
Perhaps you could name your new deity Anal instead of Oral.
Oh no. I'm fucking dead.
Well,
just a thought.
She
Performance role.
she leans forward and places her elbows on her desk and thinks, this is not something that I can do on my own. If maybe I had someone who would perform the actions of this deity we would create and give some substance behind the words, maybe you might be onto something.
I might have an idea.
Please, I am all ears. That was said by me as the DM and Malia.
I'm going to keep this one a little close to the chest for now, but I will be in touch. In the meantime, if you see Alivesa before we do, could you please pass along this information? In fact, tell everybody that you know. Because over time, people may just start to lose power anyway if the only thing that is giving this thing power is fear and followers. Then maybe they just simply realize that they need to forget about her. They won't forget about the cold, granted. But it's a start.
Interesting. So you are saying that Should I let Olivessa in on the secret that it is a fake deity that we are creating? Or do I omit that information from her and just say there is a new deity around?
Maybe that's all you need to do now that I'm thinking about it.
Maybe you should tell her there's a new shelf in the adult section of the library.
But we don't have an adult section.
Exactly.
And she kind of, she brings her hands down flat onto the desk and says, "Are you married to the name of this deity being anal?"
I'm gonna jump in and say no on that right now.
I just want to point out, when I made a blowjob joke about this deity's name, I almost lost a fucking ear.
You have a lot
Andy-
of ear. You have a lot of ear to give. All right.
Still, he has made 2 now, and has not felt her wrath.
He's indoors.
His jokes are also better.
And I'm talking about a different person. No, just yeah. Talking about anal. Come now.
In fact, let the rumors just sort themselves out. Tell them of some nameless deity that is more powerful than Oral that people have heard about. It comes from the water, it comes from the air, it comes from the ground, it's everywhere.
It comes from behind.
I'm gonna turn to Lex say, normally I appreciate your puns and your jokes, but I'm gonna need you to just politely shut up for just a minute.
And Malia,
I'll wait for you outside.
Malia interjects and says, No, wait, I think he's onto something. Instead of us sacrificing heat, we can have each person in this town hang some beads on their front door in commemoration to anal.
Oh my god.
Well,
You are the best librarian I've ever met, Molly.
They can come in different sizes, it need not matter.
there you go. I hope that you've been inspired.
But she kind of laughs back and says, in truth, if you have time to help me draw out your plans that are held close to the chest, I would be very open to hearing about this newfounded religion we are going to be creating.
Well, I had an idea that I thought was good, but if this is the angle that you want to use and go with, then so be it. It's a made-up deity anyway.
We were just saying this in jest, of course, so if you have any other
Of
ideas,
course.
we'd love to hear them.
Again, I will come back to you on that.
Understood?
But if you don't mind, I'm gonna hold on to your book a little bit longer until I've finished it, and I'll return it to you.
With the work that you're doing, quite honestly, consider that book yours.
Much obliged, ma'am. I tip my hat to her.
She tips her hat before you can.
I look at the ground and wish I had a hat.
And then I tip my hat anyway. Good day, ma'am. And then I take my leave. Lek, will you be joining me?
But of course, right behind you. No pun intended.
Oh my god.
And as we leave the library, I'm just gonna look back and say, you plant a seed and watch it sprout.
Indeed, I'm happy to have been here to assist. I think you're onto something.
I think you're onto something. You did have a good idea, though it may be in jest. You offered a lot of valuable input, and I thank you for it.
Oh, you are most welcome. I am happy to be of assistance, and look forward to seeing what fruit our combined ideas might bear.
All right. So, with that, we'll go ahead and leave the new religion founders to their mettle and jump in with Andy, Eclipse, and Carcass, who are going fishing. So, you guys are walking about town, and you know of a few rivers nearby, Eclipse, that have not succumbed to the freezing yet. You're not exactly sure why they haven't frozen over. You just figure, the moving water keeps the freeze from really setting in. But you know a few spots, and you also know where they keep the fishing tackle here, and are able to utilize it for your own good.
Well, Andy will then just kind of follow Eclipse to figure out where everything is.
And Eclipse
Sorry.
will... You're good. Eclipse will lead you around, and you come to the little shack on the outskirts of town that houses about 10 different rods and reels and a set of dry baits to be able to pick through and select. It looks like that there is a donation coffer that if you do happen to use it and have the ability to give, to donate it to replace any fishing tackle that gets lost or poles that are broken, stuff like that.
Andy will put a gold in there.
Very good, very good. Let's see here. So, since Eclipse is leading the way, Eclipse, go ahead and make a survival check for tracking.
Okay. That is a 15.
15. So you're able to pick up on the trail that leads outside of town, and you guys are on your merry way through the outdoors during the day. And you come across a stream about 45 minutes into your travels with fishing tackle in hand. Who all took some fishing tackle, and who's going to be fishing?
I did, and I will be fishing.
Okay.
I
Eclipse,
did as well.
Carcass?
Carcass, do you want to fish?
No, I have my axe. I do not need to fish.
Okay.
Well then, all right.
All right. So, the way fishing works is you guys are going to be spending about an hour or so each die roll, and one die roll is equivalent to your success during that hour of fishing. So those that are fishing with a rod and bait, make a survival check.
Mine's a 15.
This is a 10.
So Eclipse, you don't have very much luck, and as you're starting to reel in your bait, Andy, your pole just gets tugged on real hard, and you have a fish on the other end. It's fighting, and you're trying to reel it in, and it's fighting really hard, and you can see it's a nice sized knucklehead trout. I would like you to make a athletics check.
Okay. That's a 22.
And with that, you're able to muster the strength to pull it out, and You have a knucklehead trout. That's about 3 pounds.
Nice. Then I'll start cleaning it.
Okay, make another survival check.
That's a 17.
You clean out this knucklehead trout really well, and you got 2 nice little fillets out of this trout.
Andy will offer them to Carcass.
Oh, yes, Carcass will take them.
And then Andy will keep fishing.
Okay.
Eclipse is very disappointed she didn't catch anything, so she starts to get kind of aggressive and will try again.
All right, go ahead and make another survival
Tail
check.
twitching.
She gets floofy. 13. Does that get anything?
Andy, just handle you guys in
Mine
pairs.
is a 14. Or sorry, mine's a 13.
So another hour passes by, and there's no bites. You kind of get faked out a couple times, but it's actually the flow of the river and your bait hitting the bottom rocks and causing those fake bites to be felt. But at the end of the hour, no fish.
Curse words come out of Eclipse's mouth. She starts like flinging her line in aggressively.
Don't worry, we'll get one.
Carcass, what are you doing during all this time?
I'm going to watch them fish for a while, but after they do not catch any more fish for the Carcass, I would like to make some snowballs, and I will throw one at Andy.
All right, go ahead and make a dexterity check.
Oh, that is a 6.
So a snowball lands directly to your left as you're casting out, and you look back and you see Carcass with a huge smile on his face.
Oh, Andy's gonna make a ball. She's gonna reel in her rod because she doesn't want to destroy their equipment, and then she's gonna make a snowball. It's go time.
All right.
Eclipse is gonna dash for cover. She doesn't want any snow on her person.
All right. I guess roll initiative.
I got a 13.
That is a 20.
All right, Carcass, you have the ability to go again.
That is an 18.
18 hit your AC.
Yeah, my AC is 18, so that just hit.
Okay, so you're able to get her right in the chest with this one. As you have quickly reloaded and rearmed yourself with a snowball and threw it right at Andy and makes direct contact.
And I will yell, "You are all snowy!" And then I will start to run in a circle.
Oh, she's chasing.
Not a very big one, just a little tiny circle.
All right, Andy, you're up.
What do you want me to roll?
Dexterity check.
$19.
I'm assuming that hits as Carcass is
Yes.
running in a circle. And you pelt Carcass right in the side of the head as he's turned broadside to you mid-circle when you make the connection with your throw.
And Andy's gonna keep zipping by and say, "Gotcha!" and try to make a wide circle to scrape up some more snow.
Okay, Carcass. You know what? Eclipse, what are you doing? Are you just hiding?
Yeah, I'm watching very fervently from a
Alright,
bush.
just want to be sure you don't have any sneak attacks coming in. Keep you included.
Did
Alright.
this snowball to my head hurt?
Andy, how quick did you throw that snowball together?
Pretty quick.
Luckily, that did not hurt. There was no rocks in the snowball.
Oh, that is good. Then I will scoop up a giant handful of snow and run after Andy and try and knock her to the ground and throw the ball down onto her.
Okay. Contested strength check from the both of you.
I got a 19.
That is a 22.
Fuck.
Carcass succeeds in knocking Andy to the ground, and standing over you is Carcass with both hands full of snow, and he walks over.
Yeah, Andy's gonna kind of shriek like in a playful manner as she hits the snow and then start laughing as he dumps all of it on her.
Yes. And when she shrieks, I will throw the snow down, but then grab my great axe and turn around, looking for the danger.
Andy's gonna look after where he's looking and then say, "There's no one, Carcass. There's no one."
Oh. Okay, well, you yelled. I want to make sure I do not have to kill people.
No, I just yelled because I'm having fun.
Oh. Okay. I had the funds too. Can I eat some more fish now, though?
I'll try and catch you one, and she'll head back to her fishing pole.
So,
And-
Eclipse... Oh, go ahead.
I will head out with her, and I will try and wade out into the water and swing my great axe down into the water to see if I can chop any fish.
Alright. Make a perception check as you wade into the water.
Oh, that should go really good. Yes, that's a natural one, so that is a -2.
Okay, very good. So go ahead and make an attack roll at disadvantage as you swing at the water.
At disadvantage, that is a 19.
Alright, and roll a d100.
That is a 6.
So you swing wildly at the water, back and forth and back and forth. You just make it splash, and then you see the water droplets you've created are actually freezing on the banks, and you see this streak of ice just coming up and down where you've been swinging in a direct path. So Andy and Eclipse, are you going back to fishing once you see that Andy is as well?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry. I thought you were asking me.
It's for both of you. So go ahead and
The
make your
fishing should go really good with me swinging my axe into the
It
water.
definitely should. Go ahead and make your survival checks at disadvantage.
I got an 11.
I got a 9.
So, Carcass swinging away. I think you're going to keep doing it, I'm assuming.
Oh, yes. I don't care if they're trying to fish.
And an hour goes by of Carcass wildly swinging back and forth in the water. But you guys just can't get any sort of bites or anything like that during this next hour. What would you guys like to do for the next hour?
I'm going to stop swinging and walk back toward the where they are at. I will just look at End on my way past. And
Mm-hmm.
You're not very good at getting carcass into more fish.
Well, guess they're just not biting today, she's gonna say, because she's just not gonna bother informing him that he's scaring them all away.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Maybe Kitty can catch fish.
Maybe. And Andy's just
Maybe
gonna
I can.
keep going because she's content to fish. She likes it.
Okay. And if you guys would like to make another survival check regularly, you can do so now.
Ooh, I got a 19.
8.
So Andy has the luck of the draw, and you hook another fish. Go ahead and make a athletics check.
That's gonna be an 11.
This fish is pulling really hard, and I need you to actually make a dexterity saving throw.
That's 19.
So you feel the large pull from the rod, and you almost feel like that the fish nearly pulled you into the river. But you were able to anchor down your heels and pull back, but you pull back hard enough that you feel it, the lure become loose, and it's freely able to be reeled back in as you've lost the fish.
Ah, shit. She's gonna say, and she reels it back in to rebait it.
All right, another round.
Sure.
Sure.
Make your survival check as the sun is starting to set on the horizon.
I got a 14.
That's 2.
Such a good fisher.
Eclipse, you
Didn't
feel
hear
something
that.
get hooked. Make an athletics check.
What? That is a 12.
Andy, unrelated, I would like you to make an athletics check.
9.
Okay, so Andy, make a dexterity saving throw as you feel yourself being pulled into the river.
17.
You guys pull back and get bites at the same time, and you realize that your lines have actually tangled and you're connected to each other.
I knew you were gonna do that. Terrible luck today.
Very terrible.
But
Oh well.
at this point, the sun's starting to set in the horizon. You guys can continue fishing. I do hear that night fishing is a thing. Maybe your chances are better at night.
Well, what do you think, Eclipse? Should we pack it up for the evening or keep going?
I've had enough. I'm frustrated.
Okay.
Let's go back.
Okay. She'll go back.
Carcass, how do you feel about this?
I'm getting hungry, and they are not very good fisher peoples. So
Andy's gonna
I
hand
would
him a
like
meat
to go
hunk.
back too.
Andy produces a meat hunk and offers it to Carcass.
Yes, I will eat that.
All right. You guys make your way back to town, and you arrive at sunset. But that leaves us with everyone else. What are you guys doing for the rest of the day? I assume you've reconverged at the meat hall, perhaps, or what else?
It may be important for us to discuss whether we want to stick around or perhaps see if there's other work to be done for us.
Yes, I certainly wouldn't mind poking around at other opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, we've got 5 or 10 days to kill, depending. So I'm down to see what else there is to do.
So are you guys hanging around the meat hall for this conversation?
I would assume so, yeah.
Okay. So as you guys are discussing, it's probably about lunchtime at this point, and someone enters the mead hall and immediately falls down and kind of crawls back up to their 2 feet and very exacerbatedly falls into a chair and raises their arm and says, I need a warm meal. And the bartender scurries over and says, sure, you look horrible. Are you alright? And he says, I've been on the run from Dugan's Hole for, seems like a few days now. Oh. And he says, Dugan's Hole, we haven't had anyone for what seems like a 10-day. And says, yes, well, there are powers that are laying siege to the town, if you will. I was lucky to escape and outrun these individuals. And the barkeep says, what was it? And the man, he looks up to him and he says, winter wolves. And the bartender his eyes open up wide and he says, what are those? I've never seen those or heard of those before. And he says, these wolves are the size of horses and they seem to be hunting anyone that comes by. I managed to elude them, but I don't know. I thought I heard one calling out to me, but I thought that's impossible. Animals can't speak. And the bartender says, right, you must be getting a little delusional, and runs back and fetches him a hot meal and brings it out and says, on the house, for the good of your well-being. And this individual starts just chowing down on this honey-glazed knucklehead. Would you guys like to ascertain your presence to this individual?
I would say yes.
Excuse me. And
Could be some coin in it for us.
Absolutely. Where there's trouble, there's coin.
And this individual looks over to you and he looks back down at his food, wanting to ingest his sustenance as quickly as possible, seemingly really enjoying the warmth that it brings. This man is just covered in icicles. Essentially, it looks like he's been out in the wild for a day or two straight.
Hail, traveler.
Hail yourself. Do I know you?
Not yet, but I do feel we can become acquainted. You say you're from Dugan's Hole, correct?
Yes, that's where I'm from. My family is from.
Yes. I do not mean to, to interject or to overhear, but you made quite a scene coming in. Please, you said winter wolves have attacked at Dugan's Hill? Did I hear correctly?
And he puts down his fork and he looks up at you and he says, I wouldn't say outright attacked, but have moved their hunting grounds to be on the outskirts of town. We found elk just decimated, and people have gone missing and we don't know where they are. 2 individuals in particular that I'm aware of. But we're afraid to leave town, to leave it to chance that we would be ambushed by these winter wolves.
Rightfully so. And would you say there's some people in town who might pay someone to rid them of these wolves?
And he kind of looks back down and he says, I assume you've never been to Dugan's Hole.
I have not been many places this far north, I have to admit. So no, I have not.
Well, Dugan's Hole is not a very large town. And, quite frankly, we're quite poor. But safe to say, I think there's maybe a collective wealth in Dugan's Hole worth up to 30 gold if they were to liquidate everything.
I see. Well, fortunately for many people, there are more than one way to pay someone. Doesn't have to be gold necessarily.
That's true. I'm sure the town would be very grateful if this was solved.
Who could we speak to within Dugan's Hill? See if perhaps we could make something worth our while, provided we make the trek.
Oh, you can find Edgra Dermot. Dermot. Edgra Dermot. She's one of the main trappers that has taken the lead of our town. But she would be the one to talk to.
I'll keep that in mind. About how far away is Dugan's Hill? You look quite exhausted. How long have you been running?
Oh, I feel like I've been running for days, but truth be told, let's see, Dugan's Hole. Pull up my handy dandy Excel sheet that I made for that. Alright, from Goodmead to Dugan's Hole. It's about a 4-hour trek if you're traveling along the roads. I was chased off into the wilderness, and I count my lucky stars for being able to find my way back.
Well then, we'll need to discuss with the rest of the party, but we may be able to offer some kind of assistance.
And he says, I definitely believe Dugan's Hole would be very appreciative of this effort. Thank you.
Of course. Do you have a name, sir?
Yes, my name is Free. Like the brie, like the cheese, just free. Some call me Fred.
Free. I like it. I do hope your name is an expression of your character as well.
Some could say that. I just never liked Fred, and my mother always told me I was a free spirit, as it were. So it kind of stuck.
Very good. Well, we will see what we can do, Free.
Well, we may have a job.
Oh, what's that?
The folks over at Dugan's Hole seem to be under siege, I suppose, by some winter wolves.
Oh. Yes, that does sound like a job.
Well, not a paying job though, because apparently everyone at Dugan's Hole is rather poor.
I
I
Broke
wonder
AF.
how much wolf pelts would go for on these winter wolves.
Their meat will sell as well.
Wolf meat sounds barbaric, but
Many people eat it.
their coats, I don't know. I feel like money could be made in the plenty on those. But I'm not an expert in these matters either.
I'm completely fine with going. Are we leaving now?
Aren't we the eager beaver?
Well, people could die in the meantime.
Yes, well, it's night, but when has that stopped us before, huh?
Before we do, as I pipe up, I would like to have a meeting with everybody in private. Someplace quiet where no other ears could hear.
I have the place, and I pull out the key to Shandar's house.
And you guys make for Shandar's house.
That'll work.
And you guys head that way to the west side of town, and the key surely opens up the door, and you enter in the place that you were actually at exactly 24 hours from now, roundabout. See,
Ooh,
nothing
time
has
travel.
changed inside. It's exactly how you left it. It doesn't seem like he came back for anything.
What a hideous place.
Yes, he wasn't much of a housekeeper, but it is at least quiet.
Well, Lysander, what did you have for us?
So this book that Malia lent me the other night when they were doing their ritual sacrifice of warmth and heat, she gave me this book on how to get rid of or diminish the powers of deities, which is what Oral, of course, is. I read up on it a lot last night, and upon my research, the best way to diminish their power is simply to quit following them and to forget about them and not to fear them any longer. And as Lek had accompanied me to the library earlier today, I met up with Malia, and we had possibly struck up a plan, or an idea at least of sorts. If we could dissuade the town from fearing Oral and maybe persuade them into fearing another entity, then Oral's power and this eternal winterscape that she has created could go away, possibly. But it will take a lot of power and influence. So, here's my proposal. I turn to Vega and say, this fiery elephant spirit that you have, tell me everything about it.
Well, I named him Herman. I don't know. I mean, what do you want to know?
Does he have a big ass?
As big as a normal elephant.
Perfect.
Remember,
Continue, Lysander.
the size of this elephant is much smaller than we originally had thought.
That's right. I forgot that.
So it's kind of like the size of a little bit bigger than a pit bull, I'd say.
Which sounds fucking adorable. I want an elephant that size in my house.
Oh.
Yeah, we didn't know that for the first, like,
Couple
over
weeks.
half of this campaign. And then we discovered that, and I forgot until he just reminded me. Because I was still in the habit of picturing it as a big elephant.
So was I upon thinking of this plan, I thought that it was a normal-sized, large elephant spirit.
Scary things sometimes come in small packages, you know.
That is true. Well, we might still be able to use that to our advantage.
And a little illusion always comes in handy when it comes to what I think you're proposing.
Yeah, I think you might know what I'm getting at here. What I was going to suggest is if he were to make a fiery rampage through the town. Also, before I get ahead of myself, can it talk?
Sam, I would assume that it can, but I don't know for sure. There's nothing in there that says that it can't.
Your fiery entity cannot talk.
Damn.
If it lists a language, then it is understood to be able to talk. If not, it does not.
Well, lucky for you, I can make some things appear as if they are talking, or at least making sounds that sound like speech, so all hope is not lost.
Can you make it appear bigger?
I mean, unfortunately, I can either make it sound like it's talking, or I can make it appear to be bigger. I can't do both at the same time.
We'll put a pin in that for now. In the meantime, if we were able to cast this illusion to make this fiery elephant appear larger, and perhaps if we were to find a decrepit old building that we could set fire to just as an example and to get the town's attention, we can do what we can to make this entity seem more powerful and dangerous and send a very threatening message that a fiery world would be better than a frozen one. Or worse, rather. If we could redirect their fear and their attention to follow this fake deity, then Oral's power will diminish.
Lysander, if I may.
You may.
I understand I am new to this group, so perhaps I am speaking out of turn, but this seems like an overcomplicated thing. We could simply just lie to them.
That was my first idea. It seems people have a respect for the theatrics of these entities, and as Malia had pointed out, the fear that people have is of, as she said, a tangible nature, that they are living and seeing the cold and the winter all the time. If they were to see this deity in person, then rumors can spread. And that is our angle.
Perhaps instead of making a whole new song and dance, as it were, we could simply redirect credit for something that already exists.
That's an idea too. What have you got in mind?
Well, let's see. I don't know that I have anything specific. I was just thinking if we could take something that perhaps is like the endless winter, but still could be separated from it, that is oppressive, and just make up a deity that's causing that? That's kind of what I'm thinking, but I don't have anything that specific, as I feel like I say often. I haven't been around here that long, or really have a pulse on the people, as it were.
We could also take another route. Adriana,
Hmm?
who's your deity of choice?
Elm, the god of protection.
Right. And we
That
could
tracks.
simply go ahead and say that you are a champion, sent by the divine to protect the 10 towns.
I don't know that I would enjoy being the subject of the lie.
What if I let you hit me with your mace? A good smoting, publicly.
Andy kind of furrows her brow and says, my concern is that unless we convince everyone to turn against this deity at once, then the towns that do turn against the deity will suffer for it.
Real quick before we're off of this, can I hit Silas with your mace?
I'm afraid not. No, offer does not go to you, Vega. I do apologize. Maybe another day.
Okay. But yes, I had that thought as well, Andy. Anything we do in this town, we are then going to have to replicate in as many towns as we can for it to truly be effective.
And if
Only
it's
the town-
discovered, the towns will be struck by the god.
That was another thing, though, is in order to take away Oral's power, people cannot fear her anymore. They cannot fear the punishment of not participating in her sacrificial rituals, which admittedly is going to be a very, very difficult thing to influence. And that is why I think that a fiery elephant spirit that we can form a lie into this deity and let the whispers and the rumors spread from town to town, let that serve itself.
Back in Cormyr, someone used to say the opposite of fear was hope. Simply giving them hope might also negate the fear they have for Orel. It's a thought.
And what if this deity seeks charity and love and hope and kindness in order to dissuade its wrath?
Instead of demanding sacrifices, it demands acts of kindness in its honor, as it were.
Then we may not need a spectacle at all. Simply a word. I understand fear is a very powerful motivator. I know this firsthand. But considering that most of these people will be dead within a year, they might want to just use their last years trying to do something to make it better, as disgusting as it sounds.
I just am not very comfortable with lying to people. If we're going to take on a threat, I'd rather take it on head on. So count me out of the lying bit, Andy's going to say, and she's going to stand up and say, I'm going to go take care of those wolves. And then she's going to head out. because that's the most pressing thing to her at the moment.
Well, I do believe the leader has spoken, and Silas will follow Adriana on out.
I'm gonna look to the rest of the party. Who appointed her leader?
I believe it was Silas who did. Yeah.
I was about to say the same.
And who is he to appoint a leader for a group that he just joined? In any case, fine. If that is how they choose to take this, fine. If they choose the side of apathy just because they don't want to lie, fine. But does anybody have any better ideas?
I do.
Oh. All right, Carcass.
I'm going to stand up and kind of glare at all of them for a second. Get my great axe out. And then follow Andy out of the door.
Right. Well, Lysander, I think the seed has been planted, and perhaps more thought and discussion will come soon. But for now, I think it'd be best if we join our compatriots. But I do think we will revisit this again very soon.
It will have to be soon. Her threat is everywhere, all the time. And she has to be stopped. People are suffering, people are dying, people are starving. I understand Andy's reluctance to spread a lie, but I feel that a lie told seeking good, especially in the way that we are presenting it, where people only do good with acts of kindness and charity to appease a deity that we present to be more powerful than Oral. I do not see the harm in that. Do you?
No, trust me. You are preaching to the choir when it comes to the ends justify the means. Trust me. But especially in this instance where it is good that we're actually doing through the lie spreading. But they'll come around. Just give them time, Lysander. While I don't know them that well, and I am much like Silas in being new, I think there's a lot of sense in what we talked about, and I believe everyone to have enough intelligence to not forget what you have told them.
I hope so, because I'm with you on this one too.
Eclipse, what say you?
I'm fine with the plans that have been come up with already. I have no qualm with lying to these people if it means getting them a better life.
And without Zizix here, so far as I can tell, that is 4-2. As Carcass did not say anything one way or the next. But I'm open to any other idea if you find one better.
Well, I vote we, sorry. I vote we just revisit this soon and try and convince them. But for now, they're going off to fuck with some wolves in the middle of the night, so I say we go help them.
Might as well.
Yes, indeed. Onward.
All right. And with that, you guys rejoin the rest of the party outside of Shandar's house. Andy, Silas, and Carcass a little bit of ways ahead of you, heading west towards the exit of town and making the trek into The very dark cold that is out as the moon is inhibited by the overhead clouds that seem to be quite dark tonight. As
Sandy's gonna kind of
ahead.
glance over her shoulder, and when she sees Silas and Carcass, she's gonna look slightly surprised and then just kind of shrug and keep going.
Carcass, do you see the blatant disrespect?
Oh, I don't know what you mean.
What disrespect?
I just see Andy.
I stand up for her and she walks away. Truly
yes.
disappointing.
I stood up too. Yeah, I had to leave.
Wait, what? I missed something apparently. What happened?
It doesn't matter. You wouldn't believe me anyway. So, are we going wolf
You don't
hunting?
know that. Yes, I assume so. You're on board, right? She looks between them.
Well, I do like to kill things.
Andy chuckles and nods and says, yeah. I'm a bit better at that than mass deception, so I figure I'll focus on my skill set.
Now, mass deception is something I do extraordinarily well. But I agree. We need to fix what we can before we go try and kill the god.
And Andy's just gonna keep making her way to that, what's the name of the town?
Dugan's Hole.
Dugan's Hole. Do I need to do like a survival check or anything?
Yeah, go ahead as the rest of the party starts to catch up with you as they're only a few minutes behind.
I got a 10.
Alright. And it's easy enough. If there isn't ongoing snow or anything like that to make it harder than it could be. And you're able to mind the trail markers and stay on the roads towards Dugan's Hole as Lysander, Eclipse, Lek, and Vega catch up with the rest of the party. In the meantime, you're making your way with that survival check. The first hour of travel goes by fairly quickly without any sort of interruptions along the way. Same for the second hour. You do notice that the wind is starting to pick up and darker clouds on the horizon are seemingly rolling in this direction, however not very fast. It seems to be it's a large cloud front that seems to be rolling in on the region. Let's see. No encounters along the way so far. Alright. As you start to make the final approach to Dugan's Hole, I would like everyone to make a perception check.
I've got
Got an
a
11?
13.
11, 13,
Dirty 20 for Lek.
dirty
4.
20.
Nat 20 for Lysander.
Nice, nice.
A solid 4.
4 for me as well.
Vega got a 13.
Alright. So... Let's see here. So, Lek, Lysander... you both notice a very large figure on your right, about 100 feet away or so in this darkness. and it seems to be about the size of it's a bit larger than a horse, you'd say, but it seems to be walking with a limp, and it doesn't seem to be coming in your direction either.
Forgive me, a large figure with a limp about 100 feet away.
Yeah, this silhouette, kind of larger than a horse or so, that you would say from this distance, seems to be limping on its front right foot as it traverses through the snow.
So it has the similar body composition to a horse, to clarify.
I'm sorry, no, it looks like a wolf. It's just large.
Okay. Okay. I look around to see if anybody else has noticed the figure.
My
You see
11
that
did not.
Lysander has? No.
Lysander, do you see what I see?
I do.
Well, I suspect this might be one of these wolves we've heard so much about.
Agreed. Shall we
What?
investigate further?
Yes, let's do just that.
And as you guys are talking about it and motioning in the direction, everyone's able to spot it now at this point. And you see this large wolf figure limping on its right paw. Looks like heading in the same direction as you, parallel, not towards you.
Perhaps we could follow it back to its, what do they call it? A bunch of wolves. Pack! Yes, it's pack.
We could follow its tracks as well. That's not a bad idea.
All right. Is that what you guys would like to do, is to slow down and tail it? Or go over there and directly investigate?
I think we should keep a safe distance.
Yes. Let's get some tail, Lysander. Safe tail. Oh, jeez.
All right, Andy. Make a performance check.
Damn it. Ah, 22.
I think the party appreciates the pun.
Oh!
Yeah, I have a +6 in performance, so good luck making me roll that bad.
I feel like if I find that it's bad, I'll tell you it's at disadvantage, so just so you know.
Fair enough.
Oh, damn.
Well, I mean, you know,
Oh, no.
DM privilege.
And I will admit to throwing a dud every now and then.
Happens to the best of us.
So, you guys start to slow down, and the silhouette of this large wolf continues forward, hobbling on its right paw, and you get to be about 5 minutes behind it, essentially, and it leaves large footprints, much larger than any bear that you've come across. It's just a monstrous size of a wolf. And Lysander, go ahead and roll survival check to keep track.
That's a 3.
Oddly enough, the wind seems to be dissuading you from being able to keep with the right track as you find similar tracks around here, and you kind of get pulled away from the initial one.
Do I notice him having trouble?
Yeah,
Keeping
go ahead.
track?
Go ahead and roll survival.
Yeah, I will step up and give it a
Keeping
try.
track.
That would be an 18.
You're able to find the fresher of the footprints, and you correct Lysander, and you tell him, you point out the ones that are more fresh.
Vega, as you happen to be a expert in these matters, I'm just curious. About how many wolves would you say would make up a pack?
Would I know the answer to that?
Yeah, you would think at least 3 would make sense.
At least 3. So 3 to what? On the high end.
On the high end, 20.
Fuck.
Oh, boy. So we're potentially walking into the den of 20 giant wolves. Good.
Well,
Well.
we would know where they are.
That's true. So we'll definitely approach this with much caution.
Goodbye, Matt. We'll see you next week.
Bye, Matt. Bye, Matt.
Bye, new
Oh.
daddy.
I will find you next week, Matt.
Lek will be sure of it. So with that, you guys continue to follow the trail of this wolf as it the trail starts to bend to the right away from town, and through the rolling tundra hills you come to the precipice of one of these hills, and you see down below the wolf is lying down in the snow, licking intently with its left paw as if to nurse it almost.
I assume it appears to be alone.
Go ahead and make a perception check.
That would be a 5.
Yeah, seems to be alone.
Well, look, everyone, it's a lonely wolf.
Could I, from a distance, try to examine the injury of the wolf?
You can certainly try, but at this distance, nothing is sticking out to you. But go ahead and make a perception check.
15?
15. You don't see anything sticking out of the paw, like a spear or any sort of weapon that's jarred in there. But it just looks like it's just licking its wounds, as it were.
Well, I'm a little disappointed we didn't end up finding the home of the pack. He seems to have stopped and is now just tending his own injuries.
Well, he could just be taking a break since he's hurt. He might still continue on.
Right, of course.
Give him-
Well, how long do we wait for him to tend to his wounds?
I'd say as long as it takes. If these things are
Waiting.
Danger.
Fair enough. I do hate waiting.
DM question.
Sure.
That gentleman who ran into the bar free, Did we overhear him say he thought the wolves spoke to him?
Yes, in a very dismissive sort of voice, and he kind of attributed that to him going crazy and the adrenaline rush of trying to fend for his life.
Also, did he work for TurboTax?
No, he did not.
Okay, meant to ask that earlier. Thanks.
So
That was above table, so no performance check.
Yep, you're good. It's very good. How long would you guys like to wait this out?
Silas isn't really one to wait and is debating trying to approach the wolf while it sits there.
Lek feels much the same.
Guys, wait. Let's get.
What if I sent the scent of cranberries to the wolf?
What good would cranberries be to a wolf?
I don't know, but it always ends up working out for the best whenever I use it.
Does it now?
Perhaps you could create another scent, maybe something meat-based. It may confuse Carcass a little, but it might bring the wolf a little closer.
Oh, we want it closer, huh? Okay. I mean, we want it closer without knowing we're there. That's the idea, right?
I think being able to at least navigate it efficiently might be able to give us a bit better idea of what we're dealing with here.
All right. Let's see. Can I tell if it's a male or a female wolf?
From this distance, you wouldn't be able to.
Okay. Okay. I doubt I would know this, but would Lek by chance know what wolf pheromones smell like?
Go ahead and make a nature check.
It should be good. Yeah, that'd be a 6.
No, well, you think you have, a decent shot at trying. Not super
Alright.
confident in it.
Okay. Alright then, I'm gonna cast Prestidigitation and I'm going to send the scent of the last time Lek had sex. That's a scent I'm gonna send towards the wolf. Yep.
What?
Nice. Classy.
That's a 6 pheromone roll, damn it.
Pheromone.
All right.
Is pheromone the right word here?
Why did you
Pheromone.
still use the scent of cranberries?
I mean, it's I
my.
think it's an aphrodisiac. I
He
don't
did
know.
say it always works out for him when he uses it.
It does. I should have just gone with that.
Oh, my
Cranberries
goodness.
by Churlong.
Whew. All right. So, you create this scent, and you have the winds at your back, so it kind of pushes this scent towards this animal. Everyone make a perception check.
I'll
got a
call
9.
this scent. Was it good for you?
Oh my fucking-
That's a 9.
I also got a 9.
Whoa, we all got
15
9?
for Lek. 15.
Of course.
15 for Lek.
Vega got a 22.
Carcass got the 10.
Clip's got a dirty 20. All right. So, Lek, Vega, and Eclipse. You guys see off to the left another figure breach the rolling tundra and onto the precipice of a hill, looking down at this wolf down in the very small valley. And it is another silhouette of another wolf. And you hear this wolf speak. This wolf says, Kanan, Goran, are you alright? You hear the other wolf respond, I'm fine, Kanan, just nagging injury, as he continues to lick his right paw, and he starts to stand up. And Kanan speaks up and says, I smell something vulnerable.
That's accurate.
And Karan sticks his nose up into the air. I smell it too. And he starts to walk forward and limp on his left foot. And he's going to roll perception. And he says, Brother, there's a group on the hill. Maybe they can help us. And the other winter wolf draws his eyes towards you. Says, we'll see about that. And the two wolves start to approach. The one that's limping on his right foot says, Hail, travelers! Perhaps you can give an old dog a bone, if you will.
I'm out.
Lee kind of inclines her head and... Andy kind of inclines her head and... they're speaking audibly to all of us?
Yes.
Okay. How? How do you need help?
And the limping wolf comes to a sitting position and kind of raises its left paw to kind of hover across the snow, and he says, oh, well, give me one second. Me and my brother, we have an abusive owner. He's a frost giant. And we need help to break away from him before he comes and kicks me again.
Can I roll an insight?
You sure can.
Yeah, I was going to ask the same.
That's a 23.
Everyone else?
18.
9 for Lek.
13.
Okay. Is that everybody?
Oh, sorry, I got an 8.
Okay. And you start to notice like the inflections in the wolf's delivery that seems a little weird, but you guys then start to notice that the paw he was licking and favoring is actually not the paw that's being held up on above the snow line, and he seems to be favoring the wrong foot that he was favoring earlier while he was walking.
Andy's gonna kind of watch the wolf for a moment longer and then say, It's strange. When you were limping before, your other paw was elevated.
What do you mean? Both of my legs hurt. Garagai, he kicks me on both sides. They both hurt.
And what's the name of that town again? The one we were going to?
Dugan's Hole.
You see, my friends and I, we've recently come across a person from Dugan's Hole. Are you familiar?
Yes, we've been trying to get people to help us from that town, but nobody wants to. Nobody wants to help us. And Kanan, he speaks up and he says, "Shut up, brother. These people aren't gonna help us. They don't care about the 2 people that Garagai's holding prisoner. There's just no morals upon these small folk. We need to find help otherwise."
Can I insight check the other wolf?
Sure.
That's another 23.
So it's hard to say. He speaks with such vindication that it kind of gives the appearance of being truthful, even though it seems a little bit aggressive.
Okay, and can I do a medicine check on both of the wolf's paws in front of me to see if both are actually, tender or whatever?
So for a medicine check at a distance, you'd have to roll it at disadvantage.
Oh, sorry, I thought he was closer. She'll say then, let me have a look at your paws then.
And Kanan, he says, "Well, with your mean words, I don't think I trust you."
I'm exercising appropriate caution. But I'm not going to harm you.
Silas, were you saying something?
No, it's all right.
All right. Go ahead and make a persuasion check.
That's a 14?
He seems to be unrelentless in your request. As you start to approach forward, he takes a hop back with one foot still elevated in the air.
If you want us to help you, then you'll have to let me make sure you're injured. Trust requires trust, does it not?
I suppose you're right, but I would just feel better about it if you would earn our trust first and killing Garagai. And then I might let you treat me.
What are the names of these 2 prisoners you speak of?
So let's see if they know. Let's see. Kanan knows one, and he says, I believe one was called Finn.
Vin. What can you
Finn,
tell me
like a
about
fish.
Finn?
Was the other one Jake?
No, he's from some farm upstate. I don't think I'd misplace him.
Finn, my mistake. Can you describe them to me?
He's got very patchy skin. It's one skin tone and then a slightly darker skin tone. It's pretty odd to me. I haven't seen many people like that, but that's besides the point. You guys aren't going to help us, so why am I even telling you this?
Where is this person you want us to take care of?
You can follow us, and we'll take you there.
I'm gonna do that medicine check at disadvantage, like examining the paws.
Sure.
Okay, so that's a 13.
So you don't see any visible signs of blood or any surface area trauma that it would be visible. Broken bones and stuff like that wouldn't be visible to that extent for that roll.
And there's no swelling that I can see.
No, but you do keep in mind that it's a very cold climate, so everything
True.
is kept very cold.
Andy's gonna turn back to the others and say, what do you think?
Oh, I think it's probably a trap, but I still think we should go.
It is absolutely a trap, but I think it might be the only way. And if there are folks actually in danger, then perhaps we're not too late to save them.
I agree.
And at least we'll know where it is.
Besides, we could always kill the wolves if they tend to try and bite the hand that's feeding them.
That's true.
Indeed.
All right, then. Andy will turn to the wolves and say, all right, lead the way.
And Kanan looks to you and says, "Really?"
Yes, we're confident that if you're trying to trap us, we could handle it. And she's gonna just stare him down.
And Karan looks to you and says, "I don't think that's true, and that's very rude of you to say! How could you? Why would you try to hurt my brother's feelings?"
I didn't try to hurt anyone's feelings. I'm simply being matter of fact. Everyone has to look out for their interests and their safety.
Well, I maintain that it was rude. And he
All right,
starts
then.
baring his teeth and says, "You best watch your tongue."
I maintain that you would make a lovely rug, so watch yours.
And Kanan looks to his brother and says, "Brother, they're going to help us. Just calm down. Just be nice. We're gonna lead them back to the lodge, and they can take care of Gargai for us. And save their little human folk as well." And the other wolf looks to his brother and says, "Fine. This way." And the wolf continues to walk a distance to the northwest, limping on his right paw, and looking back from time to time to see if you guys are following them. At what distance are you following these wolves?
I'd probably hang back about 20 feet.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll follow a bit closer, like 10 feet.
Okay.
I was going to say Silas would like to stay only 5 behind them.
Okay. So
Then
we
I-
have Silas and
I'll
Lek
join Silas then.
taking up the front and following these wolves, and you hear the wolf that's limping just as it tries to continue to walk on both bad front feet. So he says, and
Andy's gonna cast a healing word on him.
okay. How many hit points do you heal him for? Hello, kitten. It is not time for play yet.
He'll get 7.
And he's going to see the curing effects emanate around his foot, and you see him or you hear him whimper less, and he puts a little bit more weight on the foot, but he's still got the one leg in the air.
Okay. Andy will say a sign of good faith.
Oh, thank you. That feels a bit better. Thank you. And then Karan looks to you and says, "Quiet now. We're about halfway there, and I hear something." I would like everyone to make perception checks.
That'll be a 12 for Andy.
6 for Lek.
And 6 for
Five.
Silas.
5 for Lysander.
13 for Carcass.
Okay. Clip's got a 16. So at this point, you guys take a look around at the notion that Karan has heard something. Eclipse, Carcass, and Andy.
Also, I got a 21.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay. Vega as well. You guys see that there is a pack of 8 wolves ahead, and they start to kind of split into 2 and form 2 different packs. And then the 2 winter wolves, they sit tight and they stay in their position. And one of them looks back at you and says, "Come close. Stay close to us."
Andy will move up closer.
Yeah, Vega will too, but as he does, he'll say, "Are they not with you?"
No.
Wonderful.
And is everyone getting closer?
Yes.
Yes.
So the 2 winter wolves split off on each side, and they form kind of like a 45-degree angle between you as a group and the 2 wolf packs that are splitting off, and they face each individual pack, and they bare their teeth and let out a hearty growl. And you see these wolves, these 8 wolves, start to stop in their tracks, and then they slowly start backing away, and they return back as a group and continue to the left, leaving you guys be. And the wolves, the winter wolves, start following these wolves for about 10 to 15 feet, being sure to catch the eye of any wolf that looks back and growls loudly at them again, for them having second thoughts. And upon those secondary growls, the pack of wolves start to break and run off into the distance. And Karan looks back at you and he says, "Alright, I think we're good." And he
Great.
continues walking forward, limping on his left paw hovered over the ground, and starts to make way back to the front of the pack, leading alongside his brother.
Excuse me, noble wolves, but as I don't usually have the opportunity to talk to wolves, out of curiosity, what are your feelings on the scent of cranberries?
And Kanan looks back and he's like, "Oh, they're actually quite pleasant. I usually like to hunt my elk if they're feeding on cranberries, just because the mixture of the two is just mwah, chef's kiss."
Of course. Very good. Thank you. It's good to know.
It seems like the smell of cranberries is good for any situation.
That's what I've been saying. Oh.
Kanan looks back and says, "I hate cranberries. They just sting my nostrils. I'd much rather have a blueberry."
Yeah, to each their own.
Cranberries are for losers.
Seems a bit harsh.
Takes one to know one, I suppose.
Oh, okay.
Little bit of jabbing back and forth. Ooh, these voices. Ooh. Oh boy. So, continuing on, the wind is continuing to pick up. Snow begins to fall. 10 minutes past, the snow comes down harder, the wind is picking up, it swirls and kicks up. Snow drifts from the path that you are walking. Kanan looks back and he says, I think we have a blizzard approaching. Stay close. And he asks you guys to return to group up close to them. Is everyone doing that, or do you have other things in mind?
I'll do it.
I shall group.
I will
All
join.
Yes.
So, as you all gather into a group, the wolves start to move around you, one on each side, curling their bodies to encapsulate you into the middle, and they begin to hunker down and get stable, and they're blocking the wind from hitting you guys, and you see the snow drifts just flowing overhead from the top of one wolf to another as you all are being protected from the cutting winds of this blizzard. And the wind grows louder and howls, and the snow starts falling more and more. What would you guys like to do during this time that you are centered between these two wolves?
Just try and stay warm.
Yeah, I think Vega's just gonna enjoy the cuddle puddle.
Sounds delightful.
Whose hand is on my ass?
No one's taking credit for it.
Sorry, that was my trunk.
Oh,
Oh. Well then. I feel different.
I cast the scent of cranberries.
Which is his equivalent to starting the Barry White CD.
Please, Lech, do not try and create a Pavlovian response to cranberries for me.
I feel as if I'm making great strides in that area, but I suppose I'll suspend research.
And so, you guys hunker down for what seems like a few hours, and eventually, the wind starts to grow quiet. The snow drifts being kicked up over the wolves is less and less like a white noise flowing above you. And the wolves start to stand up, and they shake off the snow that's been pelted up against them, and they say, all right, we're on the home stretch. And they continue forward. As you guys continue to travel this distance, you've been traveling for about 3 hours now into the wilderness. You start to see something on the horizon. It looks very large, even at this distance. What you see ahead of you kind of resembles a giant igloo that has 3 grand entrances that seem to be about 30 feet high. You see that there are 2 middle pillars for the middle door that are cut out of ice, seemingly, or covered in ice. Not sure exactly which at this point, but it trumps anything that you've seen within the 10 towns in terms of height, is it's easily 3 times as high and as wide as any building that you've found within the 10 towns so far. And the winter wolves start to break apart and sit to their side, to their respective sides of you as a party. And Kanan looks and he says, "He's in there. That's where you can find Gergai. And your prisoners."
Can we now?
Where would these prisoners be from?
Kanan, what was that town? Dugan's Hole.
I see. And what, pray tell, would you like us to do with this frost giant?
Kill him.
Is he alone, or does he have any fellow frost giants with him?
He's our only master.
Is there anyone else in there besides him and the prisoners?
No. Gergai lives a solemn life alone without his animals. Us.
Just you? No other animals?
Yeah.
Can I inside check that?
Sure.
One moment, my Beyond crashed on me.
Uh-oh.
That is beyond unfortunate.
Aha!
Sorry, what was that?
7. I'm assuming I believe him.
Yeah.
Well, if no one else has any other objections, shall we head in?
Oh yeah, I'd
Sure.
say we could take a giant.
Yeah, let's do it.
We should still be silent, though.
Silent but deadly. Thank you.
Like, I positively adore you, but one day I will cut out your tongue.
Ah, well. Until that day, then.
Good grief, you two are kinky.
Oh, you don't know the half of it, Vega.
All right. So, are you guys ready to make your approach?
Yes, stealthily.
Yes.
All right. Let's go ahead and have a group stealth check.
Natural 20 plus 2, 22.
I got a 3.
19.
Okay.
I got an 11.
All right.
A carcass has a 23.
All right.
Vega got a 3. I'm a sneaky fucking elephant.
You guys are all over the place. All right.
I got a 3 too. Twinsies.
Twinsies indeed.
Yay, us. We both suck equally.
Oh. All right. So with that, you guys make your approach and you see just how huge this place is, jutting up out of the vast tundra. This edifice, just from this, as you draw closer, is entirely made out of ice. So before you, you have the middle entrance and then 2 entrances on the opposite sides of this lodge. Which entrance would you like to go to?
So there's a middle entrance and which ones?
There is basically a left, a middle, and a right.
Why
I
don't
say,
we try the entrance on the left?
would it be prudent for us to cover all of the entrances, perhaps, and surround the giant, as it were?
Perhaps in time, but that's assuming they all lead to the same place.
Right.
Fair point. Fair point.
Perhaps we should take a peek in each entrance and see which one is the best to go in.
We could take an entrance one at a time.
Or Vega could go in as some kind of animal and scope the place out.
I could do that.
Which route would you guys like to take?
I'm gonna look around as no one is saying anything and go, alright, you guys wait here, I'll be right back.
All right.
I'd be interested in the left route, so.
I'm gonna change into a spider.
Okay.
And I'm gonna run on in and see what I see.
To which entrance?
The left entrance.
And you said you were running, not stealthing?
Well, okay, I'll stealth in, but I'm a spider, so I would think a giant wouldn't pay much mind to a spider.
Okay, so a normal sized spider, not a giant spider.
Correct.
Gotcha. Okay.
Just
All
a
right.
spider.
So you start to make your way in. Is anyone else covering another entrance? Or is anyone joining him in conjunction?
I'll go to the left as well.
Silas as well.
I'll go.
Okay. So Lex, Silas, and Andy are following Vega in.
Wouldn't that kind of defeat the purpose of me turning into a spider?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Well, it sounds like it's happening.
Oh, true. Oh, sorry. I must have, Okay, I'm not going to go then because I'm not very sneaky.
Okay.
How about we await Vega's report?
Waiting.
Sure, Silas will just wait by the door then.
Yes, I wait by the door as well.
All right. So Vega, as you creep along as your tiny spider self, you see in this room is just one wall, and it connects, and this is all this entrance leads to is a single room. You see a huge slatted animal cage with a locked gate attached to it by rusty hinges, and it stands against the west wall of this chamber, and trapped inside are two shivering humans in cold weather clothing.
Okay. I see. Then I will scurry back out. And I just had an idea. Let me look at something really quick. Damn. I was hoping I could cast Speak with Animals on someone else so that they could talk to me while I'm an animal, but it doesn't look like I can. Okay. Then I will just scurry out and keep going to the next entrance and hope that they either follow me or assume that that means it's safe to go in that one. Either way, that's fine, I guess.
Okay, so you're gonna get the attention of the party?
Yeah, I guess when I come back out, at least Lek and Silas are standing by that door, right?
Yeah.
if they can tell that I'm doing this, I'll hold up one of my 8 legs and kind of like make a motion for them to go ahead and go in that door.
Okay, so as you climb up the icy wall with your spider legs, Lek, you spot this tiny spider who seems to be waving its leg at you.
Silas, I think that spider is communicating with me. Perhaps that's Vega?
Doesn't seem right. Might as well smash it.
Fair point.
Well, I'm assuming they would have seen me turn into the spider.
Yes.
I mean, I did it in front of them.
They did.
Okay. Then they're just being dicks. That's fine. I'm going to keep moving and go to the next entrance.
Might as well smash it.
All right. So in the next entrance, so in this room, you see that this passageway actually goes uphill a little bit. But as you take a look around with your many eyes, you see that there are a significant amount of icicles clustered overhead that look to be quite sharp.
Wonderful.
And it looks like that this tunnel ventures deeper.
I will venture deeper, I suppose.
All right. Here you find an oval chamber with high walls of glittering ice that resembles a sepulcher. Sepulcher? Sepulcher? Sepulcher?
Sepulcher.
Sepulcher. Thank you. The frozen, hacked-up corpse of a frost giant lies on the floor, entombed in translucent ice, and looming next to it is a woolly mammoth. Not far from the mammoth, from a single block of ice, is a giant-sized throne atop a circular die. Chiseled into the stone's backrest is a large rune.
Do I recognize the rune?
You can make a history check.
Okay. That would be a 21.
Okay. So you recognize this as a giant rune from some of the history books that you've read. If you would like to make an Arcana check, you will be able to discern which rune this is.
I actually speak giant. If that helps at all.
This is different from the giant speak, as it were. It's
Gotcha.
old giant, if there's a discernible difference
I
there.
will roll Arcana. Nat 20 plus 3.
This rune resembles ice.
Okay, so is it like to control ice, or?
It's hard to tell exactly what its implementation is. You feel like that you would have to be touching the throne to be able to become aware of its magical properties. Reach out and touch it.
Gotcha.
Do you want to touch it?
I kind of do, but I'm not going to.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay. All right.
I
Just
don't
checking.
think we need a cursed spider running around doing whatever, throwing ice at people. So now to go back and not brush over this shit. You said I saw a mammoth.
Yep.
A living mammoth?
Yes.
What the fucking what?
It's his steed.
Okay, but the only giant in here is dead.
Yes. Cut to pieces.
Can I tell by what?
You're welcome to make a medicine check.
Yeah, I'll try. Six.
It's hard to tell. For something to be chopping up a giant like this, it had to have been something large, but the cuts don't look clean either, so it could have been a bunch of small things.
Huh. Okay. And is there anything else I see of note?
No, besides the throne, the mammoth, and the corpse of the frost giant, that is all you see.
What is the mammoth doing?
It's sleeping.
Okay. Okay. And the only way into this room is the way I came, or out of it.
So there is another door on your right. I say door, but it's just an archway where the walls continue.
I will go out that way.
Okay, and then you are faced with the choice of left or right into two separate rooms. The air starts to feel really rancid. Just a unpleasant smell starts to fill this corridor.
I'll check out the left first.
Okay. Inside of this room, you see a massive table hewn from a single block of ice that stands in the middle of this cold chamber, surrounded by chairs that are also made of ice. Many of these chairs are chipped and cracked. Make a perception check.
Dirty 20.
You actually spot something else inside of this room. You see underneath this giant table seems to be a stone statue about 1 foot tall that resembles a chewinga.
Interesting. Okay.
And then you
Alright.
hear voices from inside this room. You hear 3 different voices saying,
Do you think the mammoth is asleep? Do you think it's safe to leave? I don't know. You go check, Snorp. Holgi, I say we send Silbo. No! I don't want to go.
Can I tell where the sounds are coming from?
with that perception check, yes, and you triangulate it to be coming from behind one of the chairs, the thick chair legs that seem to be about 3 foot wide.
Okay, if I peek around, what do I see?
You spot 3 kobolds.
Okay, that's what I thought. Alright. I will leave them be for now. And go back out and check the other direction in that corridor.
Okay. This room, you really get the full stench of what's coming into this room. Something rotten, something old. Very sour stench of decay fills your, not nostrils, but fills your senses. And you see lying on a ice-packed ground is the frozen corpse of a whale, crudely butchered, and beside it a blade in the shape of a paring knife that is actually the size of a long sword.
Damn. That's gnarly.
Inside of this room, you spot 2 barrels next to the whale against the wall. I'm sorry, it's 2 barrels, and then there is a chest as well. And this chest is 6 foot long and 5 foot wide, 5 foot tall.
Damn. Bet. Okay. Well, this will be worth exploring. I will go back out.
You notice in this room, there is another passageway that is guided by the walls, and you can make a left turn out of this room.
I will do so.
And you find yourself at the far right entrance.
Cool. Okay, then I will scurry back to wherever the party is and change back into myself.
All right. And appearing seemingly out of nowhere is Vega with maybe some news.
Oh, hey
Yes,
there, guys.
Vega. What
How's it
did
going?
your spider eyes see?
Oh, plenty. First of all, there is another animal in there. It's called a fucking mammoth. It's asleep. But good job, guys. Giant's already dead. So, I mean, job well done, I guess. Yeah, he's dead as fuck. Like, real cut up. His throne might be magical. What else? Oh, the prisoners are over in that left entrance over there. That's really all that's in there. So somebody's probably gonna let them out soon. There's a few kobolds in one of the room that sounded like they wanted to escape, but were scared of waking the mammoth on their way out. Oh yeah, and there's a giant fucking treasure chest next to a dead rotting whale. Also some barrels, which, I don't know, maybe they're filled with blubber or whatever it is in whales that's super fucking valuable.
I have several questions.
Oh yeah,
I
go for it.
suppose
then.
I'll handle the prisoners.
Yes, absolutely. Those prisoners need to be freed and perhaps escorted back home. There may be a reward for their return. You said you believe the throne to possibly be magic.
Well, there was a rune on it. Something to do with ice, which makes sense, you know, frost giant and all that. But I don't know. I don't know what it could mean without touching it, which I didn't feel like doing because I feel like it could be sketchy.
You said the giant was dead and it was cut up.
Oh yeah, real bad.
So
Cut up
Andy,
how?
when you said you were gonna go take care of the prisoners, did you mean you were gonna go now? Alone?
No, I was gonna wait till he finished.
Okay.
Until
Just
this
wanted to be
conversation
sure.
was over.
Go ahead, Lysander. Sorry about that.
Cut up how?
Like into several pieces. Hard to tell what did it. Could have been one really big thing or a bunch of really small things. I don't know. They weren't clean cuts, but there were a lot of pieces.
What could cut up a frost giant in that way?
I would imagine not a whole lot of things, but I mean, we could have as a group, probably.
Yes, if you can get it down onto its hands and knees, you could probably make any sort of incision multiple times.
Like I said,
Yeah.
they weren't clean cuts, so it could have just been another group of people who happened to be formidable.
So aside from the sleeping mammoth that you speak of, it's safe to go in?
Yeah, aside from the sleeping mammoth, it was just 3 kobolds that wanted to leave and the 2 prisoners that I assume would also like to leave. And a dead giant and a dead whale. So the mammoth is the only thing we may or may not have to deal with. And I'd like to try to talk with it before we just try and fuck it up, because it could be in the same situation that the wolves were in and just want freedom as well.
I would agree with you there, Vega.
Maybe it doesn't know that the giant's dead, or maybe it could tell us what killed him.
Yes.
Perhaps even if the throne is a threat, we could use that mammoth to dispose of the throne.
Possibly, yeah.
Dethrone the throne, perhaps?
It sounds like we have a plan, or at least part of one. Should we deal with the prisoners first? They may run off if we let them out too early.
I mean, they've been here this long. We could just free them on our way out so we can be of more assistance to them without having other things we're wanting to do.
That does sound more efficient.
I think
Alright.
so.
Let's handle. Well, and they're safer in there too if anything goes awry.
Precisely.
All right. So where to first?
We could probably go tell the kobolds that they can leave. And then go talk to the mammoth.
Sure.
All right. And with that plan intact, this is a good place to end for tonight.
Dope. That was good.
Good
Yeah, that was a lot of
session,
fun.
everybody. Since we kind of ended a little bit out of the way, I think what we're going to retcon here initially is that Zizix did not leave to go back to Caer-Dineval. He sent Ollie to Caer-Dineval with the belt. So Zizix will be with you during this endeavor, just so he doesn't have to sit out and wait for you guys to go all the way back there. So that's the only retcon we're going to have for this next session, if that's alright with everybody else.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
Alright.
Absolutely not.
Alright, well, thanks everyone for watching. If you're new here, please hit the follow button and come back next week, Wednesday, 6 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Pacific. Or, I'm sorry, 7 p.m. Central. Where did I get 6 from? We're back next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. Stick around and wait for each. If you happen to miss an episode, you can catch it on YouTube. Samson Paul links below, and we post those every Thursday at 7. So come back and follow on your preferred medium for medium. And we'll be back next week. Thanks, everybody. If you haven't already, join the tavern. It's a great place. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But thanks, everybody, for coming around and watching the show. We appreciate it. Thank you guys very much. Hope you have a good rest of your week, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Bye.
Farewell.